Whether on foot, on a bike or on a kickboard, whether you're taking it easy or in a hurry to get somewhere, Nahmobilität is at the heart of the work of the AGFS, the Association for Pedestrian and Bicycle-friendly Cities, Townships and Districts in North Rhine Westphalia. Nahmobilität means moving by muscle power in local environment. It makes towns, cities and villages safer, livelier and more attractive.
I profit in a number of ways when I do everyday journeys on foot or by bike. I'm fitter and also more balanced. My head is clear. And towns and cities profit too. They save money. And of course, environmental pollution is far less if you walk or go by bike.
We can all integrate movement into our everyday lives with ease. With appropriate solutions, all our errands in the immediate neighborhood can be carried out by bike, cheaply and without the stress of finding somewhere to park. This applies equally to our journey to work, especially when you make optimum use of the individual forms of transport, like bike and ride, for example. And with the right bike, there's no problem taking it on buses or trains. This is intelligent Nahmobilität. And as we all know that the mind benefits from a fit body, it also makes sense, of course, to get to school or college under your own steam. The AGFS promotes this everyday coming and going through the appropriate design of the spaces where we live and move about. Cycle boxes are just one example of movement-promoting infrastructure which makes cycling in the city more pleasant and above all safer. This is why not only in transport policy generally but also when concrete traffic measures are planned, Nahmobilität must be considered on equal terms alongside the car, the bus and the train. A central goal of the AGFS is to bring about this change of perspective in traffic planning at local authority level. Because only an infrastructure that is both attractive and up to the job of Nahmobilität can get people to change their behavior. When, for example, like here, is street planned solely for motor traffic, once more becomes a genuine space for living and moving. A space where people like to linger. Or when the existing space is divided up in such a way that all road users can use it safely on equal terms. This helps to ensure peaceful coexistence on the roads and a good quality of life. Sometimes more elaborate solutions are needed, for example a subway that allows pedestrians and cyclists to get safely into town centres without having to cross busy roads. This increases a town's attractiveness as a place to live and encourages businesses to set up there. Because not least the encouragement of Nahmobilität is also an economic factor. And sometimes it's the little things that encourage mobility in our everyday lives. For example, not having to dismount thanks to a special cycle run. The best argument for getting more people to use their bike or their own feet to get around is a comprehensive pedestrian and cycle-friendly infrastructure. One that provides for an alternation between movement and rest, because this is what makes towns worth living in. This too is a core topic for the AGFS.
We've profited enormously by sharing our experience with other local authorities. We ask how they manage particular items. We ask about their cycle path layout in relation to car traffic. We ask what items are particularly important. To that extent, I can already say that the AGFS is an important pressure group. But we, as a local authority, have already profited.
The AGFS is trying to get planners and politicians to see Nahmobilität as fundamental mobility, something already taken up in a number of places. For example, in the form of bike stations with parking or service facilities, or fast roads with priority for cyclists which still allow for good relations between them and motorists. Sometimes we need to go on the offensive to get walking and cycling taken for granted. The AGFS develops central campaigns and numerous public relations formats available for use by all members. Theme campaigns, specialist brochures, flyers, invitations to political forums and specialist congresses, along with general information materials. Today, pedestrians account for some 25% of road users at local level and cyclists for a further 10%. Motorized traffic in the form of cars, buses and trains is still well ahead. But the AGFS is doing all it can to ensure that the combined proportion of pedestrians and cyclists rises to 60%, so that they constitute fundamental mobility in the total traffic picture. An important role in the achievement of this target will be played by electric bikes or e-bikes. They vastly increase an individual's radius of action. Given the right infrastructure, for example blanket coverage with battery charging stations, even more road users could switch from cars to bikes. This would also serve the main problem in many towns: too much short-distance motorized traffic. A high proportion of cycle traffic diffuses the general traffic situation, thereby strengthening a town's economic viability. Since its formation, the AGFS has been a pioneer in the field of modern and innovative traffic policy, infrastructure planning, communication. Its work has pointed the way forward in Germany. The focus of the AGFS is undeniably Nahmobilität, without however losing sight of other forms of transport. This integrated view is what makes the AGFS unique and what distinguishes it from other organizations. The network is growing all the time. It started in 1993 with 13 members. By the year 2000, this figure had risen to nearly 30. In 2010, there were already 60 members, and the hope is to raise this to 100 by 2020.
Die AGFS ist deshalb ein wichtiger Partner des Landes, weil
The AGFS is an important partner for the state government because it provides an input. It has contact with the grassroots, with the people who ride bicycles. And it's very important that the state government gets some feedback. A good example of this input providing is Local Mobility 2.0, which led the state government to start its own Local Mobility Action Plan.
Whether in leisure pursuits or in everyday life, whether on foot or on a bicycle, this action plan has redefined the function and importance of Nahmobilität in the total mobility spectrum to the benefit of towns and cities and of the people who live in them. The extensive cooperation between the state government and the AGFS in all fields of local mobility has made an important contribution to North Rhine Westphalia now being the most bicycle-friendly state in Germany, with great chances for the future.
We are pleading for a re-evaluation of the topic of local mobility, both by planners and by politicians. We think it should be given equal status. We call this Local Mobility 2.0. I'm confident that in future local authorities and local neighbourhoods will develop into lively centres of life and movement, where precisely this mobility will be fun for people.
Getting around using one's own muscle power creates new perspectives for our living spaces, while making our state more attractive, more healthy and more lively. What's more, in no other area of traffic planning can the advantages for individuals, their health and their energy costs be combined so well with the benefits for the community. A healthy, innovative and integrated traffic policy, geared once more to the human being. That's what the AGFS is working for, so that our towns and cities once more become true spaces for living and getting around. Because quality of movement means quality of life.